interesting one today. We do have a very important personality to talk extensively about engineering today. Don't forget, it's an interactive program, so we do want you to get involved. If you do have any questions, you can drop it on our social media platforms. We are streaming live on Facebook right now. On our Facebook platform, just search for Ogun TV on Facebook. Also, you can drop in your comments on our Twitter platform also, and we can get in your questions. The phone lines would also be scrolling on your screen so that you can get your questions ready and begin to call in as soon as we begin to open up the phone lines. And don't forget, this program is sponsored by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch, and very importantly, it is sponsored by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSE, and it is actually powered by the Nigerian Society of Engineers. With me this evening is Dr. OLANREWAJU APAMPA, FNSE. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so we will be going on a short break right now. When we return, we're going to the program proper.
Our role model of the week is Dr. Osatoamen Osewinde. He is a drone manufacturer for American Army. He has 3 master's degrees and 4 doctoral degrees in software engineering, information systems, curriculum and instruction from University of Cincinnati, Regis University, and Kayla Graduate School of Management. He resides in Texas, USA. Dr. Osatoamen is the founder of the Open Robotics University, a tuition-free engineering degree-granting university. He is from Edo State, Nigeria, and a former lecturer at College of Education, Ekadole, Benin City, Edo State.
This is Engineering You here on Ogun State Television. Now, for you to understand and know our guest more for today, that's Dr. OLANREWAJU APAMPA. I'll be giving you a little bit of his profile right now. He was born over 50 years ago in Lagos State on the 2nd of July. And he's from Ogun State, Abeokuta North Local Government area to be precise. He started his educational career from Lagos City Council Primary School, Fadeyi, between 1973 and 1977. He went to Igbobi College, Yaba, Lagos, between 1977 and 1982. He went to the University of Lagos between 1987 and 1992 and graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering. He attended the University of Uyo between 1996 and 1998 with an MBA. And he went on to Rivers State University of Science and Technology between 2004 and 2008 with an MTech in Transportation Engineering. The University of Ilorin between 2011 and 2015, where he backed his PhD in Civil Engineering. He is a registered engineer, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineering, member Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers also. He's presently a chief lecturer at the Department of Civil Engineering at Moshood Abiola Polytechnic here in Abeokuta. His career has spanned over 3 decades right now, and he has worked in different areas, including the Aluminum Smelters Company of Nigeria in Akwa Ibom State between 1991 and 2004, Ogun State Road Management Agency Project Manager for Bridges between 2005 to 2008, and Director, School of Engineering, Moshood Abiola Polytechnic between 2011 and 2020. And he has, as I said, his career has spanned a lot, and he has also had quite a number of service to his community. It's nice to have you on the program. I mean, with a pretty long and impressive profile. It's really nice to have you on the program, sir.
My pleasure, thank you.
Yes, sir. So looking at the fact that, we tend to encourage, our youths to, pursue career in engineering and science-related field. But first of all, I want us to look at, the roles of engineers in national development. How important is, having engineers in order to build the nation as a whole.
Thank you very much. Well, engineering is another word you can use to describe engineering is the tool for national development. If you are talking of national development, you need engineering as a tool. Without that tool, there can be no national development. I make bold to say this. When we talk of national development, we are talking about infrastructure essentially. Roads, other means of transportation, electricity, water supply, and everything that makes life easy, that contributes to the quality of life in a society. Anything that has to do with city life or civilized living, you need engineering to bring that about, and that's what national development is all about. So we're talking about really national development without engineering is a non-starter.
Okay, would you say that this is the reason why you decided to focus on, civil engineering? I mean, you started first of all with your BSc in civil engineering, and you went on that field. So, as a child, you had wanted to be an engineer, or your parents were engineers. What really motivated you to decide to go on this career path?
Actually, thank you very much. A very interesting question. As a teenager in secondary school, I was fascinated by the fact that I saw bridges on water, and I knew that it would, I was wondering how it was possible to put something that is made of cement in water, knowing fully well that water could easily wash cement away. And I wondered how it was possible to build things that retain water, like bridges, like dams. So I was fascinated by things like bridges, by dams, like dams in water. And this is what led me to, and I asked a cousin of mine, I said, okay, he was doing civil engineering. I said, okay, good question. If you want to learn more about what I'm telling you, come to civil engineering.
Okay. It's very, very important thing I've seen here on the profile is the fact that at River State University, you focused more on transportation engineering. So help us to, differentiate. People talk about, I'm an engineer, but you focused on transportation engineering. So there's a difference between being a transportation engineer and apart from being a regular engineer.
Well, engineering is in different disciplines. The broad disciplines in engineering traditionally are civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, traditionally. We have chemical engineering now, we have electronics engineering, we have computer engineering. Now, let me focus on civil engineering, which is my field. Civil engineering can be further divided into subgroups. So there's the transportation part of it, there is structures part of it, and there is water engineering part of it. So transportation, we're talking about roads, bridges, highways, and traffic management. That's transportation engineering. Roads, bridges, highways, roads, bridges, traffic management, and ports and harbors. These are what, transportation on waterways, even airports, transportation by air, intermodal transportation, that is different modes of transportation. So this is what transportation engineering deals with.
Okay.
Then you have structural engineering that deals with the structural elements of, let's say, buildings and things we call structures, really.
Okay, I'm going to allow you to, to talk extensively about that. But right now, we will be going on a short break right now. When we do return, I'll be talking extensively more about, engineering, and also we'll begin to take in your calls and comments on our social media platforms. Welcome back to Engineering and You, here on Obse Television. Please do get your questions ready and begin to get your calls in very, very soon. We begin to take that so we can get in your opinions and questions about the topic that we do have today, which is about engineering and national development, and also if you're interested in pursuing careers in engineering. Right now we're talking about transportation, engineering, and all of that, and looking at your career, how it has spanned. I mean, you have only not worked here in the Southwest, you have also worked in other parts of the country. How has it been like working in different terrains?
Well, engineering is actually an international profession, and the things you learn in a particular area you can easily practice in another area because the principles are the same. However, the terrains may be different. And typically as engineers, or as an engineer, you tend to have the opportunity of travel because engineering is about transforming the bush or the swamps to city, to livable spaces. So you transform an unlivable space to a livable space. And as soon as it becomes livable, you are asked to go to another unlivable space to transform it. So you tend to move about. If you are, for example, in a construction, so after you've constructed this housing estate in a particular place, you don't stay there, it's not for you, you've constructed for those who need it. You move on to another virgin land to transform it into another housing estate, as an example. Or you stay in a place and build a bridge, thereafter you move to another place where they had no bridge before and build it there. So you keep on moving from place to place. And you could move from Ogun State to Cross River State, to River State, to even Maiduguri, as the case may be, if you are working in a construction company or a consultancy firm that has jobs everywhere. And this is one of the challenges, and interesting things about engineering. Anybody who loves travel, who loves to move about, who is not used to sedentary living, can actually enjoy the practice of engineering.
Okay. When you talk about making a place livable, so it's not just about working in urban areas alone. You can also transform areas in rural areas. They don't necessarily need to move to the city in order for them to really enjoy what engineers are doing. You can always go into the rural areas also and develop all of these areas also. It's
the #1 challenge of the engineer to transform an unlivable space to a livable space, to connect a road or means of transportation to a hitherto unharnessed area. So this is the challenge. Transform green area to a brown area, virgin land to livable space. Okay,
when we look at the way construction have been able to evolve over time, how has it been like? I mean, when you started and looking at the way things are being done now, has things really changed a lot, especially here in Nigeria? Or how are we moving generally? I mean, when we look at the way construction used to be done, then since you are focused on a lot more on transportation and engineering, the way roads are being built before and the way they are being done now, how has it evolved over time?
Actually, civil engineering is one of the areas of engineering that doesn't change much. It's not like electronics that changes, as we say, per second. if I look at technology that we used 30 years ago, it's pretty much very little has changed, except that the advent of computer technology has made it possible to analyze more data. You can go into more complex designs. You can go into more detailed analysis easily than it was the case 30 years ago. But in terms of construction technology, very little has changed. If I look back 30 years ago to now, we're still basically using the same kind of construction method in getting things done. That's as far as civil engineering is concerned. But other areas of engineering, things have really evolved.
Okay. In trying to bring in new people, I mean, younger generation into coming into engineering and trying to make it more attractive to them, in different aspects of of engineering generally. What would you say? What would you say the youth should begin to focus on? I mean, students in secondary school right now, what subjects or what things would you say they should begin to look into? And parents also, how would you tell them to encourage their children to be able to pursue career in engineering? Because a lot of people believe that, I mean, will I make money from this? How profitable is this work in the long run?
Okay, thank you. Now, the thing is, engineering is the profession of the youth. It's rigorous. There's no doubt about that. Everybody, because it involves a lot of mathematics, and people tend to run away from mathematics because it's demanding. But it's not beyond. It's demanding. It's challenging, but it's very enjoyable. It's like when you surmount a challenge, you solve a problem, even without being paid. You get a hoopla, you get a euphoria that you solve this problem. So you find that in secondary schools, the top brass of any class, you find them in engineering. And this is even one of the reasons why I chose engineering, because I found that I couldn't possibly imagine myself in another class except the class of the top brass. So engineering is what you should go into. Now, there are many engineers who have delved into other areas of other professions, after graduation. That's well and good. But you will hardly find anybody after his youth coming into engineering. It's simply too demanding for them to cope. So engineering is the profession of choice when you are young. If after engineering you decide to move on, well and good, you will do very well. There are many engineers who, after graduating, they go into other professions and they excel. Because by doing engineering, you expand your brain. And after your 5 years in an engineering faculty, I can bet you can cope with any other profession that comes with any other challenge is easily surmountable for you. So about making money, you will make money by solving people's problems. There are many engineers who are making it big. The sponsor of this program is one of them. There are many like him. They don't necessarily stamp it on their head that they are engineers, but they had engineering training and they've practiced and they've moved on. So you have
okay, I'm sorry, I think we do have a call right now. Okay. Femi is calling us from Matogun. Hello, Femi. Okay, I think we just lost that call right now. Please do try to call us back. Try to call our number back or reach out to us on our social media platforms. Yes, you're talking about encouraging students and all of that, but presently, being the fact that you are in education, you are a lecturer and all of that, presently, how is it like? Do you have a lot of students that tend to apply to study engineering in schools and you have to turn away some people, or you don't even have enough? How is the turnout like presently?
Actually, the turnout is good. We are able to fill the classes and we are able to turn back those who don't meet up to the grade, because there's a minimum grade required to go into the engineering class, both in terms of the school set results, the papers you need to have, and the JAMB score you need to obtain to be able to have an aggregate score that brings you, qualifies you into an engineering class. So where I teach, we have our classes are filled up to the capacity granted by the regulatory body.
Okay, I think right now we have Ola from Lambe. Ola, hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, what's your question, please?
I'm in this program.
Sorry? Hello, Ola? Okay, I think we have got a little bit of network issue. We'll continue to try the phone line. So you're saying that you presently have enough students coming in, and I'm talking about standard though. Is often we worry though the standard are not overly too high, and are they attainable? Looking at the present situation of things.
Yes, the standards are attainable. Like I said before, engineering is an international profession, and the standards are attainable. Our students are attaining them. Not only that, we know that because when we turn out students, they are able to move on to other countries and do very well. And in as much as we may complain that certain facilities are not sufficient here, when these students go out there, they do excel. The engineering profession is a very wide, it's a very versatile thing, and gives you the possibility to move into various areas of endeavor, the military, the consultancy, construction, academia, and like I said, there are people who, just because of the engineering training, the high numeracy skill that they tend to acquire in engineering school, they move on from there to do other things and do very well at it.
Okay then, thank you very much, Dr. OLANREWAJU APAMPA, for being on the program today. I really do appreciate you for expanding our knowledge on how to get into engineering, and most especially when it comes to civil engineering and transportation engineering for anybody who might want to go into that particular line. Thank you very much for being on the program once again. I really do appreciate you. If you're unable to get in your calls right now, next week, please do join in early enough, and don't forget the social media platforms are there. You can drop in your comments on that platforms, and you can also call in. If the phone lines are not good, just drop it on the social media platforms. But thank you very much for being a part of the program. Next week, we'll be back here again by 5 p.m. Don't forget, this program is also running on Ogun Radio also every Monday. It's running on Ogun Radio by 6 p.m. in the evening. This program is actually sponsored by Prince Engineer Yemisi Shilon, FNSC, and powered by the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Abeokuta branch. I am Olayinka Shodunke. Bye for now.